to present these awards with us as well. And these students, when I call your name, would you like for them to come up to the front? All right.
Thank you.
The first student is David Amezquita.
And at the same time, the students are going to receive another certificate sent by the Senator Anthony Canela, that board members are going also to give them. So the first one was?
He's not here. Okay. Andrew Campos. Isabel Castañeda.
Congratulations.
Vivan Castro. Angelina Chavez. Danae Escalante. Karina Flores. I told you guys she was here. Jerónimo Garcia. Kaden Garcia. Brisa Gonzalez. Jose Martin Guerra. Tiara Harrigan. Sean Lapatine. Emily Lopez. Stephanie Martinez. Melissa Munoz. Daniela Ochoa. Jaime Pacencia. Adrian Sanchez. Aliza Sheasley. Arisa Soto.
Maybe stand for an applause, please. On behalf of the Board of Education, we congratulate you, all of you, and also the people who helped you come and succeed and achieve and have fun while you're learning at the same time. Thank you. I take the privilege, I take the privilege as the parents to stand up to the children who are here. Yeah, forward. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
And I have a couple of my teachers here to receive their PBIS awards. And I have Marissa Regalado, Sonia Regalado. I have Elizabeth Lopez as well. She's also on our PBIS team. And I believe the rest are not here tonight, but thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Acknowledgement. We have another special acknowledgement. Assistant Superintendent here is present.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas. It's my pleasure tonight to present the best of the best to Ms. Lori Monica. She is our Chartwell's consultant coordinator for our food service program. And a brief history is that some 9 or 10 years ago, we had terrible food. We were in the red. There was TV trade dinners. It was really nice. We brought in Chartwell's, and they did a huge turnaround, added over 30 employees to the roles of our CSDA bargaining unit. Went for fresh prepared food. Kids loved it. We improved the amount of folks that ate, and they continued to build on that success, brought in salad bars to all of our schools, and then have helped write the grant for the fresh fruit and vegetable grant that we have gotten now, and we're in our 4th year. And that provides between 4 and 7 schools, this year at 5 schools, we get fresh fruit and vegetables from a USDA grant to get the kids a snack mid-morning or at another time when there's testing going on. Lori Bonica has done great work for us. And Lori, would you please come up and why don't you bring your boss from Seattle who came down also. Don't ever think about moving her. This award is a regional award, 80 districts, 18 western states, is that right? 13 western states. And Lori competed in one of all the Chartwell's accounts in the western United States, and she now goes on to compete at the national level for the best school district management consulting oversight in the United States of America. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, I was just told my drink is not on the wellness policy. I can't drink it tonight.
Children are going home to do their homework.
Mine are.
Thank you.
On the 22nd, 23rd, I'll be
I
there.
understand that the children are leaving to go home and do homework. Let's give them an applause on the way out. Thank you very much. The next item is employee organizations. Rodriguez? Mrs. Rodriguez?
Carol's here.
Are you saying goodbye or just staying up here? Thank you very much. Employees organizations, we go. Thank you very much.
Good evening, board and Dr. Musa. Couple of things that I just wanted to talk about. One of them, I was thinking this is more for me, not so much for the teachers, but I couldn't help but notice all the CSEA people being assigned to positions. And for myself, I just know that having more CSEA involvement and having them at the schools, I can feel it. I can feel that there's more adults on campus. It just feels better, feels more community-like, and so I'm so glad that CSEA is getting back and coming back so strong. So I appreciate that, and that's kind of just for me. Teachers have let me know, the ones that were having problems with their books before, that things are better now, so that they seem to be on board. There's a few still out that they're on back order. We would like to suggest that there be a better process developed for the books, because this is not the first year. This has kind of gone on year after year. There's been some fits and starts of counting books and having us put them on our table so they could be counted and barcoded and different things, but we really haven't gotten, the district hasn't gotten a handle on this. And, you know, we'd be glad as SETC members that have somebody represent teachers on that, on some kind of a committee. Maybe, you know, that might be a way to go, is to kind of think through this. And we really hope that this happens this year, because every year it's so difficult. It's really hard to explain unless you've really been in the classroom, but it's very hard to begin the year and feel like you don't have everything you need. You've been sharing books, and that's just like an extra weight on you. So we would hope that that's teachers are looking forward to Friday. Friday's our professional development day, and we once again have a wide variety of things to choose from. And I think that gone over very well, and teachers are very pleased by being able to kind of tailor it to maybe what their interest is or what their need is at this time. So that's been well received. And I think that's all my notes. So I think that's it. And good evening, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have Representative CSEA. I don't see one. I don't hear one. Okay. How about the sub-teachers? Representative? Say none? Okay. Then I'm going to skip over to the next item, which is the superintendent's presentation. Thank you.
Yes, Board Presidents, Board of Trustees. The news already reported $14 million coming to the county. And I'm happy to announce that we are part of it, Salinas City. $2.6 million were awarded to the county for only 3 school districts: Salinas City, Elementary School District, High School, and Avi South. And this money is going to be devoted for PBIS, including school culture. It's an enormous asset for this district. In addition, the county received $8.6 million for California State University Monterey Bay. 6 school districts are going to be the beneficiary of this money. And basically is to support a teachers' quality partnership. So we're very happy to keep bringing resources to our profession and to improve what we do here with students.
Thank you. Any other items? No? There none? Okay. We're going to go across the board and see if you have any comments as board members. Okay, we'll start. My colleague over here to my right, far right. Good.
Not at this time?
Not at this time. Thank you. Mr. Kim?
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Barnes?
I have their time. I have several items that I'd like to bring up. The first one that I would like to bring up is I want to thank, these are the schools that I have the privilege of going into each class and seeing the teachers teach. At Laurelwood, Lincoln, Mission Park, Monterey Park, Loma Vista, and Cannon, I was able to go to each one of them. And I just want to compliment the teachers. So many great things are happening. I mean, yes, we have issues. No, we're not perfect. But I tell you what, it's pretty perfect when you go to the classroom and you see how well everyone is doing. PBIS, the Common Core, GLAD, all of these things are happening. So I invite anyone who doesn't think that we're doing the right thing to make an appointment with a principal and go in and see what's happening in the classroom. The dual immersion that's happening at Lincoln is just unbelievable. I was so impressed. So it's something that makes us all really happy. We go in there and we see kids having a good time but learning, and that's what this is all about. So kudos to all of those teachers and all the others that I didn't get a chance, the other 12 schools or how many schools it was that I wasn't able to go to. Also, that's the first thing. The second thing is we had an issue with lice at one of our schools last week, and we discovered that our policy for lice, it was 2006. So I highly recommend that we update it immediately and we make sure that the parents are told immediately, not the next day, but immediately. And even of you parents that have had lice exposure know that the expediency is very, very important. That's the second one. The third thing I wanted to mention, I would like to ask Mrs. Sanders, is kind of, you already sort of said a book update. Could you even tell us more about what's going on with our books?
Yes, we do have a couple of outstanding orders. We have the dual immersion classes at Veranda Meadows and also at Lincoln that have asked for duplicate instructional materials. For example, they have them currently in Spanish, but now they'd also, after consideration of the program, have requested them in English. So those have been ordered. And the same thing, we have a dual immersion class that currently has math textbooks in English, and now they would also like parallel books in math. We have some supplementary teacher materials that are on back order, and then one school submitted a request for some science textbooks on 9/23. We had a number of them in stock, but 5 are on back order, and teachers have been notified.
One of the suggestions when we talked earlier is that when the IMC turns in the books to the school, they just tell the principal, they don't tell the teacher. They need to tell the teacher too. So we're talking about making sure that there's a CC to the teacher so you know that it's coming. Otherwise you don't even know. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing? I would also like to thank Carol for the constructive criticism and the feedback that we really do need to create a new system. You're right, we do go out, we inventory the books, they have barcodes. What hasn't happened at the site level yet is to have individual books checked out to students and then returned. So even though there's we know at one point, any one given point in time, these number of books are at a school site, these number of books are at the district, we don't have them checked out for a student. So that's something that we need to look at for coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. The next thing I would like to bring up and ask Dr. Lusa, I think that we need to bring back, we were doing some brainstorming, and you have a superintendent's advisory, but you should have a superintendent's advisory with parents, not just with the teachers. So therefore, you can decide how you want to do it, but I really think that we should have 13 schools, 13 parents, and the superintendent once a month, just like we do with the teachers. I just think it's really important to keep the communication open, and that would be a good way, and maybe we could rotate one board member each time to come in as well and address the issues that parents have. So, and then lastly, but not leastly, is the class size. I'm appalled at the size of the classrooms, how many kids are in the classroom, and I know it's easy to say all these reasons, but I think we better dig deeper, really dig deeper to find money somewhere. And I just, when I looked at the class size, we used to have a class size committee at each school, and now it just kind of happens. But we need to stay on top of this, and I think that we need to have a report every board meeting about what's going on and differences and things that have happened. I mean, when I was looking at this, I know that we have 220 more upper grade students. Well, we didn't project that very well, or they came all in. I don't know what the deal is, but all I know is that it's highly impacted the upper grades. And the upper grades, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 classrooms that are over 32 students to a classroom, and that's not okay. You know, I mean, we've got to do better. I just really strongly believe that, and the stipend. I'm saying this from a teacher's perspective, because the stipend that we get is nice, but it doesn't make up for the quality of education that these kids are getting, and they're not getting what they deserve because we don't have enough. We don't have enough teachers. And also, when I went to the primary, I know that there was 5 primary classrooms that had 28. And I know that we're trying, and we're better than we used to be at the primary level, and that's the whole goal. But we're also down 53 students at the primary level, so that kind of helps pad all of that. But I just think that every meeting we need to talk about it, and we need to look at it very, very seriously, because teachers are burning out. They're burning out when you have that many kids. You can't get to all of them. So I'm not sure where that goes. I don't know if we can have it brought back so we can discuss it as an item on the agenda, but I just think it's just not okay. What I saw was just not okay.
My final comments are, as a board member, to my colleagues and to many times to the public at large, is that we're working basically as volunteers up here, and we're putting out some pretty good decision-making outcomes. But at the same time, we also know that human beings make mistakes. Even when I want to announce this, is that recently I just received a formal invitation to be a speaker at one of our schools. And I accepted right on the spot, because it's my responsibility, and I believe board members' responsibility, is to go to the site and be part of the process of learning. And this invitation is directed that I do something with the parents, inform them about after-school programs. That's the highlight, after-school programs. Their involvement, their engagement, as well as their presence is very, very critical when children stay after school, and even to pick them up, even to go to the meetings, things like that. The other thing is that I visited Roosevelt School not too long ago, and I also visited Sherwood School not too long. El Gavilan not too long ago went to a car wash. They had their first car wash of the year. And then, of course, limited myself in the sites I go to, because sometimes I get in the way. I ask too many questions sometimes. And I know that parents and I know that the administration and the faculty themselves are working together. We also need to look at, and I'm sharing this with my colleagues, to look at inviting the neighbors, the neighborhood adults, to be engaged also in what's going on in the school, especially when it comes to security. And that can be done. And we're already starting that in my area, where we're talking to neighbor to neighbor to neighbor to neighbor about security on the street, safety issues. For example, kids running across the streets. And the other thing is any adults hanging around the schools that need not be hanging around the schools. So we're starting that in my area in some spots. Okay, so I want to share with you, I visited schools, I want to share with you, I have some concerns, but also we have a process that we engage in, and that is making sure that we can support each other as members of the community, protecting the interests of children, especially those children that are going to the schools, because they're our liability, I mean, our responsibility, and we have the liability too, as well, so we have to do that. Mr. Superintendent, Dr. Busa, do you have any comments or that we skipped over? Or you forgot to say, or? I said.
Okay. Previous concern?
Previous concern, we
Okay.
can go into that.
Yes. Last board meeting, we have 5 concerns. Mr. Henry expressed his concerns about the distribution of Title I, comparing Sherwood and Roosevelt. And I would like to say that distribution Title I is by a number of students. You have an informational packet.
You had it done wrong. It wasn't a distribution Title I, it was the total funds. You're mixing it up. It was the total funds, not the total
Okay, all right. Yeah, same thing. Beside Title I, Economic Impact Day also is distributed by number of students. Basically, every categorical is distributed by number, by how many students we have in that school site. Second, Frank Garden requested board agendas and the packet to be posted in both websites, which yes, we did. And at this time, I mean, both web pages were running parallel until October 10th. Monica, are you here? Could you give us a very brief update of what happened with this transition between the old district page and the new district page? Very briefly.
Yes, as you mentioned, that both websites were running parallel during the development of the new website. And as of October 10th, we had ended our commitment with our previous web hosting company. And so because we did not renew our contract with them, we had expected that they would do the work to reroute. So basically, in essence, for example, if we are going down the highway on the way to Salinas, but there's a detour, that is the detour that will still get us to the destination. And so we expected them to do their work to reroute internet traffic from the old website to the new one, and they did not get that accomplished. And so we are trying to make that happen.
A timeline? Do you have a timeline?
Yes, I think it's going to be in the next couple of days. We're going to be able to access the
Sometime
domain.
this week.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Another concern was about Mrs. Dickinson, about overwatering our gardens.
Yes, we had an issue of some overwatering, especially at Lincoln. We directed the maintenance teams at the sites to go reduce and in many cases turn off the water. We've had less transevaporation because we have less sunlight and we have less wind this time of the year. So as that is occurring, and it has occurred, we're finding areas that are drying out, and the ones that don't dry out will have leaks, and we'll repair those. We've repaired a couple of leaks already, but we'll continue to reduce water, be prudent with water management, until we get to the point of minimum where we can't do with less unless we want to let the grass turn totally brown. And we'll ramp it up in the springtime when we get wind and sunlight again. Another thing we do is we let the grass grow a little bit more, creates its own shade and its own nutrients, and so it's a little more resilient. Thanks.
And the last concern that I have here is, it was some clarification about timeline when special education parents requested for assessment. Director Chaitis?
Upon receipt of a parent's written request for evaluation, it's 15 calendar days that we have to respond with a plan for assessment.
Thank you. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And as we've been answering questions, as we go forward, we'll continue to do that. Okay. The next item is about individuals addressing the board. But I also want to remind us that we're here to listen, and after that, we're here to consider. At the same time, we're here to have respect for other people who are speaking, as well as people who want to speak. But please do identify yourself and the topic, and it's going to be limited to 3 minutes. How many? And not on the agenda. These are items not on the agenda. I want to remind us. Thank you.
I'm Elisa Crummy. I'm a 6th grade teacher at Mission Park, and I'd like to start by saying just a couple things in response to what I've heard. First of all, Monica has been extremely helpful, but I was the vice principal for a whole year, and my name was never listed as vice principal on the district website for one single day. I was never given that acknowledgement. I resigned from being vice principal in July, and I still receive all of that information, and it would probably be in your best interest to limit my access to the administrative ORs, because I still have access to all of the classrooms in ORs, and I see some huge issues there with the transition going on. Secondly, I agree with what Mrs. Barnes said about the class size. However, that is a policy that either needs to be changed at the district or the board level, and I'm uncertain. I have 34 6th graders, but it is not based on a school percentage. It's based on a district percentage. So a school that has special funding for 20-to-1 takes into account my extra however many. So if you really want that change to happen, then you need to put into place something to change it. Because right now it's the district and the board that have the policy that says it's an average per class. So it doesn't matter how big my class is if somebody else is compensated for it. In addition to that, we talked about the parking solutions and the parking lots, and that was just brought up. And we have huge issues at Mission Park. In fact, in my window, the theme at Mission Park this week is citizenship, this month. So I have parking lot citizenship that states my kids have made positive posters about all the rules that we have about parking and not dropping off in this lane and doing this and doing that. We're not allowed to have volunteers because insurance doesn't cover parent volunteers to be on the street. We have had a parking lot person killed in the last 10 years or 15 years. So I don't know, what I'm saying is I'm hearing wonderful ideas, but I'm not hearing any solutions. And as a teacher in the district now for more than a lot of years, that was brought in by Donna and worked for Donna before she worked for this district, ideas are fantastic, but it only makes any sense if they come to fruition. So we can sit here and say all the things we want, but if we don't have a policy and procedure to change it, there's no point in talking about it, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please. Your name?
Sean Henry, parent with children at Mission Park. First, I actually emailed a follow-up about where the textbooks were. And, even though you weren't putting it on the actual agenda, if you just said it was going to be addressed at the beginning, a simple email communication, gave it to you over a week ago, that would have been great. Part of what was said about creating a new system and constructive criticism, talking with the teachers union is really great on October 13th. And I think it's hopefully going to get a new system. Now we're talking about creating a new system. So it's not that we're just bad parents. We're basically noticing things that are going on. We noticed when you came in on September the 8th and passed a resolution saying every kid had every textbook and every material they needed, that 4 teachers stood up and said, no, at our school we have 4 teachers. 4 teachers have classes that do not have textbook. And we have it on tape. The first thing was pointed towards the principal, the orders weren't made, all these different things. Then we come back, September 22nd, there's only 1 purchase order out. There's only 1 classroom that's affected. All the notes do not reflect anything the teachers came up and spoke about. And even the media had to come out to the schools. And then that day, we finally, because the TV news came out, it was finally said that we have a problem. And now today we're talking about that we need to create a new system, that this has been going on every year. And you passed a resolution on 9/8 that's not true. Are you ever going to fix that and bring it up? We expect our students to correct the work. If you make a mistake, fine. The only way to do it is to acknowledge it and address it and correct it. And that's not something that's been going on here in many different levels. So I'm glad it's an improvement. Dr. Luz, I'm glad you mentioned, a concern. I presented on the board per pupil spending. Per pupil spending. I can give copies to the media. We have it on video. It's very clear. I spoke about per pupil spending twice. I gave it to Mr. Kim. I sent emails. I gave you the exact forms that were from the school accountability report cards. Yes, I spoke about Title I, but you guys talk about a lot of different things here. Can we get it straight? It was per pupil spending on the entire year, not Title I. So what you said was wrong, and I can play back the tape. We can talk to Mr. Lewis at any time. Anytime we can sit down. But there's a lot of important information, a lot of ideas. I know people make mistakes. I'm not expecting you to. I'm expecting you to listen, to ask input from the community. You wouldn't have passed the resolution on 9/8 if you followed the proper procedures, Mr. Garcia, and actually opened it up for discussion. Because then the teacher could have maybe spoke about it before you voted. But you rushed through the vote, and now you're on record sending something to California saying that something's not true. But most likely you've been doing that for a while, and that's why it hasn't been fixed. So I'm glad at least the problem has come to the surface, and now we're talking about a new system. Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Norma Camacho, soy miembro del Consejo Escolar de la Escuela Sherwood. Vengo a presentar estas firmas en contra de abrir una escuela charter. So good afternoon, my name is Norma Camacho and I'm a member of the School Site Council at Sherwood.
Con permiso, this item is on the agenda, está en la agenda. Vamos a discutir esto más tarde. Dispensa, pero así es la orden.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll be having a chance to talk. Thank you.
Good evening, Cynthia.
Next, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Cynthia Schaefer. I handed out to you the Martin Cisneros website development contract. I have been asking about this contract since June 10th, and nobody seems to want to answer my questions. So I'm going to synthesize what I need to say with one question. I gave you the proposal, and the board approved $5,000 for the district website. This is the contract that I finally got for the same services, nothing more, nothing less. Your staff signed for $11,636. I have asked, I've been very specific, why is it that your staff is signing for more than what you approved? Is that something that's normal? If it is, let me know. I'll back off. Otherwise, it seems to me that this is not right. Anybody have a comment about that? I've sent this, so this should not be a surprise. The money is off.
Are you finished? I'm not sure.
You're not sure about what?
Your pause is,
I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it?
we understand what you just said.
Okay.
We recorded what you just said, and we want to go forward.
That
Thank you.
means
Thank you very
I
much.
will be receiving a reply? Will I be receiving a reply regarding the money?
Thank you for your inquiry. We're going to look into it. Yes.
There's nothing in the Cisneros contract regarding training. How is Cisneros being paid for all of the training? Per the proposal, his cost was $15,700, which is in excess of $5,000, which requires board approval. Again, none of this should be a surprise. Just want to be on public record so everybody knows that you guys know. I've been clicking around and there's very little improvement from the old website. Certainly not to justify spending $11,000. There are deficiencies and a myriad of outstanding questions which Mr. Stratton and Ms. Macias will not answer.
And I want to add, Ms. Macias, that it's very disingenuous for you to say
Excuse me.
that the old
Excuse me.
contractor...
Please address the board, please.
That
You're
the
addressing
old
board.
contractor is responsible for redirecting. The new contractor is responsible for that. I would like to show you what is actually on the website. Okay? Eyewear. You guys need to take a look. Who's testing? You've got stuff on your website that has nothing to do with school business. You have no quality control going on. You have no change content policy. There's nothing. I go to the parent portal and it's a dead link.
Okay, Dr. Lusa, would you please address this? And if you need to, you can draw in the rest of the staff. Okay. Yeah. It's Dr. Lusa's time right now to answer that question. Okay.
Dr. Lusa, actually, with all due respect.
Excuse me, the superintendent has the floor right now.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. The community member got it all wrong, completely wrong. I mean, here we have a contract for $25,000 that was presented initially to the board to do so many things. My recommendation to the board was no. The contract that we recommended to be approved, instead of $25,000, the administration recommended a contract for $11,000, half of it. Because we thought we didn't need the rest. We had to put the web page functioning as soon as possible, so we recommended half of it, what we presented, $11,000. That's the only contract in place. So the web page for the district and the web page for each school site and the professional development, everything we have done so far comes out of this small contract, $11,000. We don't have
No,
a
sir.
second contract. We don't have a second.
I never said you had a second contract.
Excuse me.
It's-
The superintendent has the floor. Thank you very much.
So, Board of Education, Lisa Cinero presented a contract for 25. We recommended 11. You approved 11. Everything that he has done and still doing is under this only contract, $11,000. Thank you.
The line item that you are
Thank you.
referencing is $5,000, sir. $5,000, not $11,000.
Okay, well, Mr. Superintendent, you ready to finish? Yes. Next,
Yes,
please, speaker,
Mr.
please. 3 minutes for up.
Good evening, board members and community. My name is Elizabeth Reyes, and I'm here to represent the parent of the English learner. Board members, the BBB group is the minority of the misguided parents. In our district, we have 9,494 students, and 4,941 are English learners. Our children, we are the majority, and the parents of the Mission Park do not represent us. We are grateful to Janet Barnes, and we are proud to have Dr. Lusa as our superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Next, please.
Yvette Vasquez. parent at Mission Park School. Excuse me if it's a little out of order, I didn't intend to speak, but I would like to follow the formal request that Mr. Garcia received from parents from his school district, or the school district he represents, in extending a formal invitation to Ms. Barnes to come speak to the parents at Mission Park School. So I hope you take that into consideration. Also, with all due respect, Mr. Garcia, I would like to point out that a volunteer by its definition is someone that doesn't get paid for their work. And I do believe that you all get paid for your work here. It may be minimal, but I think you get paid a monthly stipend as well as health insurance benefits. So I don't think that your statement initially of saying that you're a volunteer is accurate. I think that you should probably clarify that with the parents. Also, I was very disappointed not to see any of our board members or our superintendent, especially you, Ms. Barnes, not be at our carnival this last Saturday. A lot of parents put a lot of hard work into that, and we are looking to raise the money needed for our 6th grade camp. And with the 6th grade camp, I lead into asking Dr. Luza what his intentions are with respect to what the community group he intends to reach out to find additional funding in the event that our school does not reach its goal to send every student to 6th grade camp. 2 more things is the visit, Ms. Barnes, that you went to Mission Park School, I don't think included all the classrooms that day. So that probably could have been clarified a little bit better. You only did undergrade, lower grade, not the upper grade. And the last thing is that I would hope that one of your statements sounded like kind of a campaign platform, so I hope that you would keep that out of this arena. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please. Por favor.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Josefina López, soy uno de los padres de Escuela Natividad.
So hello, my name is Josefina Lopez and I'm one of the parents at Natividad.
Miembros de la mesa directiva, la gran mayoría de los padres del área 4 apoyan a la señora Barnett. Los esfuerzos que hace el doctor Luza de dirigir el distrito hacia el siglo XXI, en la área 4, el número de niños identifican como limitados en inglés son 768.
So board members, the vast majority of parents in Area 4 support Ms. Barnes and the efforts of Dr. Luza to lead the district into the 21st century. The number of children identified as limited English are 768.
El grupo BBB no representa a la familia de estos niños. Nosotros tenemos confianza en el liderazgo del doctor Luza y los limitados de inglés necesitan más programas que se dirijan a sus necesidades académicas.
So we trust in the leadership of Dr. Luza and the decisions of Ms. Barnes. And these children who are limited English need more programs that address their academic needs.
Especificado, por ejemplo, más programas de inmersión individual. La escuela Lincoln está haciendo un trabajo excelente con los niños limitados en inglés, y los niños que hablan inglés tienen la oportunidad de hablar español.
So Lincoln is doing a great job with the children with limited English, and the children who speak English have the opportunity to also speak Spanish.
La escuela Lincoln está presentando sus estudiantes para el futuro en el cual